Well, let's stay with that rumbling royal rift. The palace has now responded, as you just heard, to the allegations made by the Duke and Duchess of Sussex in a fairly short statement. This is it in full. It says the whole family is saddened to learn the full extent of how challenging the last few years have been for Harry and Meghan. The issues raised, particularly that of race, are concerning. While some recollections may vary, they are taken very seriously and will be addressed by the family privately. Harry, Meghan and Archie will always be much loved family members. Well, as we mentioned earlier, the rift has divided opinion here in the UK and, of course, in the United States. To talk more about this is the television presenter Trisha Goddard, who joins me now from the United States. Great to talk to you, Trisha. A lot to discuss, of course. And first of all, your reaction to that statement, as I say, a fairly short statement from Buckingham Palace and sourced to Her Majesty the Queen. And perhaps the most relevant paragraph is that saying the issues raised, particularly that of race, are concerning. And while some recollections may vary, they are taken very seriously and will be addressed by the family privately. They clearly want to close it down and have that discussion between themselves. Do you think that's going to happen?
Well, can I just come to the statement at first? I think the whole statement's important because I've been a mental health campaigner for over 35 years. And I've been saying all along, when one's child or grandchild is, you might call it acting out or acting angrily or speaking out, it's usually because they feel they've been banging their head against a brick wall and they haven't been heard. And I've been saying all along that they just need to be heard. All you need to say is, I hear you, I hear that you're in pain, and let's talk about this privately. And this is exactly what the Queen has been saying. And as far as the race issue is concerned as well, I don't think they need to say any more or put any more detail. I think trying to have some kind of witch hunt on the part of the media or individuals about who said exactly what about race is a waste of time and energy, because the empire basically has been built on colonialism and all sorts of practices that are now recognised to be archaic and oppressive. So there's a lot of work to be done. But I just think saying, you know what, we hear your pain, we take these things very seriously and we're going to talk about them is a massive first step. I think it's wonderful.
Well, let's talk about someone you took issue with not appearing to take that issue very seriously. And Trisha, you know I'm talking about Piers Morgan, the now ex-ITV presenter. Well, I think he was right to go in the end, and particularly on the issue, as you touched on in your first answer, of mental health, when he just quite frankly said he didn't believe Meghan Markle.
Again, as a mental health campaigner, you have to believe. If somebody says they are in pain to the point where they don't want to go on, you absolutely believe them. And even if you choose to be as ignorant not to do that, when you make those kind of statements, there are hundreds of thousands of people listening and watching that who are in pain and might be thinking of reaching out, might be thinking of doing themselves some harm and want to reach out for help. And when somebody in a very prominent position in the national media says, oh, I don't believe it, it compounds all of that fear of, if I ask for help, if I say I can't go on, people won't believe me. It's a very dangerous game to play, not just with Meghan Markle. And if you remember, Prince Harry in the interview said that he went to a very dark place as well, but to every single person who's struggling. Now, I'm not going to gloat about Piers deciding to go. And he's probably, I don't know how he feels. I'm not even going to put myself in his head, but I actually wonder if Piers isn't going through a tough time or hasn't been. I know he is kind of prone to banging on about something, but I always worry when somebody gets so fixated on something. I'm not talking about mental illness here, but I'm just talking about stress So you don't know what's going on at home for anybody. And I might be completely far off the mark. But if he, I'm not going to gloat about anybody going through something as stressful for losing their job. However you might want to be label their behaviour, you reap the consequences of what you do. However, that is not to ignore that person may be in some kind of pain to have to come to that decision in the first place.
Yeah, it might be a good idea for you and Piers to have a private chat, Trisha. And I know, of course, you weren't going to gloat, but just in terms of ITV as a huge organisation, is it sending out the right signals in that we understand from the statement they had a discussion with Piers Morgan and they decided not to oppose his decision to leave? Does that send out an important signal from ITV that it does take this issue very, very seriously indeed?
Yes, it does. And I mean, I've worked with Mind, the mental health charity, and Time to Change, which is an organisation set up to battle the stigma against mental health. And before that, as a government advisor in Australia on mental health. And ITV has actually signed up and signed a pledge to really, back the chipping away of mental health stigma and promote mental good health. And then, of course, we've got the Channel 4 documentary on Caroline Flack coming up. And it's no good media outlets on one hand saying just be kind and backing mental health initiatives, and then having any one of their very prominent presenters or anybody sort of setting you back 25 years. So, the world is changing. The world is changing, Dermot. I think the days of belligerent interviewing and just barking at someone until they back down or shut up and you have your say, I think that kind of interviewing is over. Oprah did the whole velvet glove. If she didn't get the answer she wanted, she kind of circled back after a little while. And look what she got. Look what she got. It's not all. It's a spectacle if you just shout at somebody. It's a spectacle. It's a bull ring. It doesn't get information. And if being a journalist is getting information, it doesn't work.
Which was precisely how you operated when you were over here. Trisha, come back soon. Very good to talk to you.